Okay, welcome back. So with Adeboye Kalijaye and Olushola Jegede, we're looking at the second subject for the day. We're looking at the whole matter about getting on top of insurgency. Governor Masari has spoken up and said that they're calling it banditry, but it's much more than banditry. We have people in the forest, we have criminals in the forest, and as the military is dislodging them from a given area, they are moving into other areas, and he even opined that this is what exactly is worrying Kano now, for instance. So we have this situation on our hands, and we were discussing how sincere are we really being about this particular security aspect. We won't even call it what it is. We're being very, very careful to call it bandits. I suppose there's something about the word insurgent and insurgency that people don't want to be applied to certain groups. But look, it is what it is. And as we were just hearing, Adeboye was just pointing out that small. These people are moving. They're not staying in one place. They're advancing. What do you think?
Like what President Trump once said.
Yeah.
I don't like to agree with him all the time, but he said something. He said, if you cannot even call a problem, you will not even be able to solve it. If you cannot even call the problem what it is, because you are becoming wrong things, and that's where you channel your energy. But that aside, it was in news generally not too long ago that several jets, Kano jets, were imported to the country. Some were in the United States, some have arrived safely, and we don't even know how these jets are being used. Maybe we don't know, but maybe they are not yet being used. Maybe and then we have not been getting more information, more press conference from the Nigerian military, unlike what you see in the international, in other countries, to be addressing us on the progress they are making and everything, because so much money, so much expenditure have been involved in this war already. The Ministry of Defense, the prosecution of this war, have eaten so deep into Nigeria budget. There's no doubt about that. And several jets have been brought in. What are they used for? But then secondly, even the parliament, the National Assembly, they should not be working. How do we create this, what they call the state police? We need this state to have their own men in arms. See what Amotekun, honestly we could say, Amotekun practically solved part of the problem in the southwest. The tension will have been more than this. For instance, we now have Amotekun, we see this thing on the news every time, chasing some of these kidnappers to the bush.
Yeah.
You know, when you become aggressive, they run back, they withdraw, they retreat.
But if they see that you
there's
a kid gloves approach. Mazi Okorafor, good morning, sir. Thank you for holding on.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, Barry Solution and the Rabbi.
Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So, you see, when we talk about this issue of these terrorists, because they don't face that this has risk. Now, why are they so interested about using the so-called evil forest to operate? Now, you ask yourself, there are two things we have to look at. Who migrated from where they are, from other states to another state. Now, were they moving from the forest to forest, or from the road to the forest to the next place of their operation? That is where we have to look into. Because one, the problem we have in Nigeria is that we don't trace issues. We don't trace causes. We trace symptoms. We have to look at the angle where they followed. Now, I'm still saying it. Our drones, what is happening with the drones? The people that have been trained to come and collect the shot to go and learn how to operate the drone, what are they doing? Where are they? Because the area we make use of all this is the better for us. Because they cannot leave that place where they are, their former that place, and start organize that. They will go back, they sit and organize themselves and start operating, getting more problem for where they are. And now the question is, we have to be very careful. One, the people that have just traced them, that they are out, they should go back to the basis and trace that route so that we find solutions. And we should not allow them to settle down. But we allow them to settle down, they are not creating more problems. So farmers cannot go, students, they are not safe. Now, ask yourself, the schools within the locality, that is villages, they can't go back to school because of all these things. Now, do you know what happened what is it called, in Sudan? The former head of state, Al-Bashir, what happened? He came back, used the soldiers to do what to do. His own people, now you ask yourself, are they not the same people who are this creating problem, thinking their own people to be suspecting and creating problem? So the area Nigerian soldiers or military, this we call them, crosses these people, the better for us. Thank you very much, President.
Indeed, thank you very much for calling in. You know,
I like to bring us back. I like to bring us back to the civil war in Nigeria.
Okay.
Yes, we're not in wartime, but you remember why the war lasted for quite a long time. It lasted for quite a long time because we saw the Biafran people as part of us, and that we cannot apply all the weaponries of war against them because it will amount to killing ourselves. But at a point in time, when the war was continuously prolonged, Awolowo came up with it, saying, look, you are fighting people, you are giving them food, you are giving them medicals, then you are going to strengthen them the more. So, whether we like it or not, call it banditry, call it insurgency, we must agree that we are more or less moving to a war situation in this country, especially in those, those territories. We can no longer call it a family affair any longer. We must rise up to the occasion and face, let's call it spade and not just a tool. Now it's time for us to apply what we should do. The cries are coming. The cry of a child in the midnight is not a sign of disturbance. It's a cry for attention. What Masari is saying now is to say that, and for instance, I read also in the papers just 2 days ago that the northern elders are also beginning to criticize the federal government. They are beginning to be disenchanted about how the country is managed, both security-wise, everything. So it's no longer the South versus North or the North versus South. It's now about all of us. And we're almost getting, terrified by this situation. So at this point in time, we must, as a matter of fact, the federal government must wake up. There must also be power devolution, like he was also trying to say. Why the military remains in the ambit of the federal government to control because it's a security matter. There are other information gathering systems that ought to take place even to help the military in terms of community policing, in terms of information from the neighborhood, in terms of all of those ones. So all of these things must come to play. But I recognize that the places we are talking about is massive forests, and then they are inhabited by nobody.
Yeah, but in addition to that, the emir of Katsina chipped in at this sort of interactive media session co-organized between the Katsina State Government and the federal authorities to say that, look, these bandits have now come out into the city. They've started to buy land. I mean, the emir would know. They have now started to buy land. They've settled in our cities. They've started buying lands and are now building houses in our communities. Bandits can never repent. That's the emir of Katsina speaking for you. I'm very sorry, Mr. Yakub. Good morning, sir. Please go ahead now.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Good morning, Victoria, and then good morning to your two guests. I think I totally agree with one of your guests. For me, Nigerian government and then Nigeria as a whole, we should not pretend as if we are not in a war. We are already in a war, Shivori. What do you call a station whereby the students cannot go to school? What do you call a station whereby even the House of Representative member and the Senate cannot go to their various where they represent him? What do you call that? A station whereby the bandits just come into a village and then make a kidnap of the head of the villagers. So, Shivjori, to me, and another thing is this, Shivjori, is it our judiciary, it is also the station we find out. Why am I saying that? Why this thing starting almost 10 years ago now? We have been making arrests, we have been getting arrested of some of these criminals. Chief Judge, what is this? Those criminals? What? Because especially let me give you a typical example here. There's one guy that got arrested here in Lagos. F1's case is now. Nobody knows. This is a case that is planning to every one of us, but that this guy perpetrated this evil. Up to today, this guy is.
I think we're going to have to sort of make a conjecture about the very last bit, but we did hear you. And what Yakub was saying essentially is that let us stop calling, there's this Yoruba saying about calling a dog a monkey. You know, so let us stop that and call a monkey and call a dog. And, you know, so even the emirs are getting in on there and worryingly are testifying that these bandits are now taking, where do they get money from? They're taking ransom money. Now they're buying land. Now they're building houses. Now they're actually in among us. And, well, it's all right. It's all right. And then the emir said, for good measure, bandits cannot repent. What are you going to give to a person who has been stealing from you by dint of arms? You are going to put him into a 6 or 8 hour workday. So these are the kind of situations we have. But perhaps you also understand it from the authorities' point of view. That is the authorities those who have authorities over the army, say, look, you can't throw the whole kitchen sink at them. You know, we have to manage this situation because, as he was, you know, illustrating, we've had a war, a most unfortunate war before, and if you were to borrow from that leaf, I don't know if the two are the same, or if they are similar, or do you think that they are similar?
I've explained, and I said, my blood brother, has carried arms against me. We are blood brothers.
So this no longer a family quarrel.
If he has the opportunity and he kills me, that's the end of it. So if I have the opportunity, why not strike him dead? So once two friends are no longer friends, they are no longer friends. Whether these bandits are so-called natives or family members or bear the same cultural affiliations or whatever with the people, as long as they have distinguished themselves as people who are insurgents by nature, as people who feel whether genuinely or otherwise aggrieved, and they have taken arms against their own people, then the people must also rise up against and treat them as persona non grata. Otherwise, when they take life out of these people, our northern states are being, you know, are being devastated by these various insurgency and various activities. Like he also said, like Yakubu said, how many members of the House of Reps or Senate in those regions are able to go back home? They don't even have a feedback, they don't have a connect with their people. Some people, when they run election, manage to run election, whether caricature or whatever, they go back to Abuja. Abuja has become a safe home for almost everybody.
Yeah.
So nobody goes home again. So how long shall we continue to live in this kind of terrible circumstance?
Indeed.
We need to take some steps.
Indeed, we do. And you can imagine perhaps is the word frustration of the emir of Katsina, who is saying that even though we are in a democracy, but bandits don't deserve to enjoy human rights that they are denying to others. That's a lot. That's a lot. But,
it's pregnant.
It is.
It's pregnant. You have all the resources of the nation.
Yes.
Chasing people who have not risen arms against the nation. And you can go as far as other countries, developed countries of the world, to bring them back home in chains. You are chasing people you are chasing Igbo about. You are able to spend all the resources to bring Nnamdi Kanu back to Nigeria.
Yeah.
And then you cannot deploy those intelligent resources to find out the location of these bandits, to look at how to deal with them. So our resources must be spent judiciously in a manner that will guarantee the primary responsibility of any government is the security of lives and property.
Indeed.
And once that fails, then government has failed.
Mr. Bani, good morning, sir, in Ajegule, and apologies for keeping you waiting. Go ahead, please. Mr. Abani, go ahead, please.
Yeah. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. Go ahead, quickly, please, quickly.
These 2-3 people over there. May God bless you people. Yeah, the country. Yeah, this country what we did. And the country what we did, the left person they love. This banditry, for me, now terrorist act, man, they act. And as I come to the life, I don't know who the oil sources, the oil sources what we get. Kaba did here. Local government Kaba did here. State Kaba did here. You go further Kaba did here. The terrorists, the way we find out, the way we define all this banditry, our government is the problem of this country. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Who was I reading just yesterday who was saying that stop blaming governments for hard and tough situations? But Mr. Abani has just gone ahead and done that. I can't remember, but some dignitary had saying it's not the thing to do. I can't remember, so I wouldn't just call one out. Let it not go and be a mistake. But somebody was making the point that you can't be blaming these guys. What you should be doing instead is looking for ways to play your part, as it were. We've always heard this. Even the way you nodded your head was very gentle. Could we develop that idea? Let me hear you. I'm not about to, but this is what we've heard. I think the point that we've made, and we've made it quite, loudly, is that people are concerned, and people who are actually in the scene, in the theater itself. How much closer can you get if you're not if you're not governor of Zamfara, if you're not the emir of Katsina? How much closer are you going to be? Yet we are hearing these things. If we are hearing it from these people, then government has heard it earlier. Isaac in Eboyin, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Okay, go right ahead, please, quickly.
Okay, I want to contribute about the budget they are discussing on TVC News.
Okay. Go ahead, please.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. Go ahead, please, quickly.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much. I agree with my government. Okay, I'm not. Okay, sir. I said with my brother, who said the government spent so much money to bring Nnamdi Kanu and the Nigeria, but they are not spending money to find out the terrorists. They are not even calling them a terrorist. They are wearing a hand glove, calling them he's no longer bandit. But they rushed down to Abuja there. They scrap RDOP, people fighting without guns, people who are taking right, but people who are killing, and in fact it has collapsed. It's going to be out of service now on Mondays. Now over there, that's why I so much love in the Southwest. I congratulate to what they're doing. Now here in the Southeast, the one is the Southeast, and I'm not doing anything. And so much the government of Nigeria, if they want to do anything, and people are dying. Everyone is coming. They will be like money asking us to vote for them again. And when they go back to Abuja, they fly because they don't fly for down to Abuja. And there, even when they are coming, they come with a troop of security. And around them, their children and their wives already in overseas. Nigeria has collapsed. Here in Southeast, they are buying land just at the end of Katsina State. They are already buying land and building. You don't even know who is buying it anymore. Last 2 months ago, they killed a lot of people in their point. And nothing is done. Government, you can't even say it as the governor, they don't say it's not a bandit, it's not a bandit. They don't even call it a bandit. And it says, it don't even call it a investment. They say it's just a farmer class with people with really hard this and that. It's graduating. It's graduating.
Well, thank you very much for calling in there. As you are observing, and as you said, it's graduating. The matter is escalating, and we are being warned. These are not people who are speaking here, I'm happy that they spoke directly to the Minister of Information, you know, and that they had this media effort jointly organized by the federal government and the Katsina State authorities, and that all of this is coming out. Now, if government ever needed inputs, they've got it. We've heard it said before by security analysts especially that we have to change our approach. Our tactics, whatever is the strategy, just has to be changed. We've heard at the very base level that, look, if you don't want to complicate it, some people have said to us, what does it take for you to understand that if the military is given the order to proceed and achieve this objective, the Nigerian military is very competent and able to achieve such these kind of logistic objectives. But the implication is that perhaps they're not getting the order for some of the reasons we've discussed this morning, where a governor is saying that never mind our similarities. If you are carrying on the way you are carrying on, you have become a terrorist. You have become an insurgent. Stop calling them bandits. Bandits usually attack people who are traveling. That's, I don't know, there's no how you're going to define bandits that you won't put in traveling somewhere in the middle there. So, did you have something to close with?
Whether you even call it banditry or you call it insurgency, you call it terrorism, it's all about negativity.
Yes. But the kind of negativity.
So
if we know a person as a terrorist,
the negativity graduate from one level to another and to the next level. So whether it's from the lower level to the middle level to the high level, negativity is negativity. It's about damage to human existence. It's about damage to livelihood. It's about damage to security. Therefore, we must apply the right approach. But I must warn to say that, yes, we have all clamor, government must rise up, like you said, when they are giving directive, Nigerian soldiers are competent.
They can do it.
That's why they call them a bloody soldier, because you are, they say, they call you bloody civilian.
They don't call them bloody
civilian. Yes. It means that you have blood, they don't have blood. Because their own blood can be shattered at any time. No, that notwithstanding,
yes,
nobody wants to willingly shed his blood. That's where I'm going.
Okay.
You must provide the working tools. I think the Nigerian military do not have the enough tools to work. They must, yes. We are spending money. This money, the money is denominated into dollars.
Okay.
And when you denominate naira into the way naira is slumping every day, you now have almost almost getting to 600 naira to $1. So it means that if you carry 600 naira, you can only buy something of $1.
Okay, I hear what you're saying. I understand it.
Our ability to purchase military hardware is also falling.
But an emergency is an emergency. Even if things are tough, it depends on when the government will take this as a sufficient emergency that no matter how expensive, we can afford it. I'm not saying it can be done lightly, because
you can only spend the money that you have.
Okay, I'll leave it there because the president has also said as much. So I'm going to have to leave it there. I've absolutely got to run now. Mr. Adeboye Kalejai, thank you very much, political affairs analyst.
My pleasure.
And Mr. Lushola Jegede, lawyer and public affairs analyst, thank you very much as well. And we just hope that Nigeria is rid of this whole problem of bandits. If you want to call them bandits, go ahead. Terrorists, insurgents, people who are not letting us sleep, so to speak.
Taken out.
They have to be dealt with, Let's just leave it like that. Okay. So that's our program today. Please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. In the meantime, do keep in mind that COVID-19, the special, what's that variant now? Well, the Delta variant is out there. Consider accepting a vaccine. And in the meantime, socially distance, wear your masks and wash your hands frequently. I'm Yori Falani. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye for now.